just because you're in a new season that requires new capacity, new systems, new rhythms, all that.
Yeah.
You have to realize that you have more of the things you wanted in a previous season.
For sure.
If you have a bigger house, yeah, it has all those things. It gets harder, but you wanted more square footage.
For sure.
And you had 1 kid and you jumped to 4 kids over the span of 5 years.
Yep.
You can't look back and say, I just wish I had 1. No, you have to enjoy the 4 that you have now and not necessarily looking back. You can look back and say that was awesome, but look at today as it's also awesome because every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Busy Brothers Podcast, episode 22, where we are helping you
find balance in the busy.
And we're here today with myself, Derek Kerber, and
his better looking, more funny, less anointed brother, Sean.
Oh, God is good, and we have fun. But we are here to help you find balance in the busy, and collectively, we got a lot of things going on. And what we want to do in this podcast is we want to focus on answering some questions that maybe you have been resisting, some moves that maybe you have been saying no to, or maybe making excuses to. And it all centers around this whole idea of capacity. This whole idea of capacity. Can I do more? Can I become more?
Handle it.
Yeah, pretty much that. I can't handle it. Stephen Furtick.
That was a good.
We should put that in the show notes so you guys can check out that video from what seems 20 years ago, but it's like 12.
Yeah, it's been
10 or 12.
It's been a while. No, yeah,
maybe 8. Either way, it's really
been
good.
A while.
It's a really good motivational video, especially if you're feeling down. It's really, really good. But today we're just gonna have fun with it, and we might be talking about systems. We might talk about gears. We might talk about like seasons,
which I didn't realize. Just a quick note: did you know like people, like non-churchy people, they don't understand the concept of like there's seasons to things.
Maybe.
I remember having a conversation with a new believer, and we said, well, this is just a season of this. They're like, I would have never thought of it like that. So like the concept of like times and seasons, not just in the natural spring, winter, fall, all that, but like this is just a season where you're walking through this. This is a season where you're learning this.
Sure.
Like I'm not going to say all, but I'm saying in general, like it's not a concept that people think about. Because I think a lot of people have that mindset of day to day, and they don't zoom out to see where in the grand scheme of things everything is.
Yeah, that's true. And because maybe they don't realize that there's a season. I mean, obviously we were raised in scripture, and Ecclesiastes talks about to everything there is a time and a season. There's a time to live, there's a time to die, there's a time to cry, there's a time to rejoice. There's a time to pick up, there's a time to lay down. And so if you don't think of it in that way, there's a good chance you could probably be in a different season, but even though you're in the season of winter, you can't be wearing summer clothing. There's got to be a change of clothing.
Yeah.
There's got to be a change of expectation. There's got to be a change of something to prepare you for that season. And if you're not aware, obviously we've got fall, like we can label that within the season changes, but many times we don't get prepared for the season changes of our life. What do you think?
Nothing. Number one, I was like, with fall, you get all the seasons in one season. So it's like, but then the second thing, I started to look right through you again. And I noticed it the minute I did it. Like,
I didn't notice this. You got it good.
Yeah, I started feeling, I'm looking right through
them. And so today I just want to talk about like, what is one thing that you know deep down on the inside of you that you should do? Maybe it's
brush your teeth.
That is 100%. Maybe it's I need to get out of debt. Maybe it's I need to have that conversation with my mom. Maybe it's that conversation that you need to have with your wife.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a change that you need to do in your work schedule. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's
changing your job altogether.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like there is something potentially. I'm not saying that for everybody. Maybe you're a much better leader of yourself than I am, but there's something that I'm resisting. Whether it is doing a new initiative, that's probably for me one of the biggest resistance that I have is a new initiative. And really, the reason why I resist it is because it's going to take more of me to make it exist. So we resist bringing new things into our life because we might feel overwhelmed because of what we already and currently have. And you could find yourself maybe in this position and season where you are so overwhelmed that you get yourself to a place where you find that you are spending more time fantasizing over what life used to be because you remember a season of your life where it was quote unquote easier. It was quote unquote better. It was quote unquote you want to go back to that old house that you had because there was
245 square feet.
That's
maybe.
right. Or our place, like we've got a really large house now. We bought it at a great time at a great deal. That it's way over double now than what it used to be. Here's a cool thing. When you have something bigger, it costs more.
Yeah.
It's harder to maintain.
Yeah.
There are so many upsides, but there are a lot of downsides. When you step into something bigger, there are times where you are lusting after a previous season because smaller was actually easier.
Oh, for sure.
You get married, you can sometimes look back and be like, it was just easier when I was single.
Yeah.
When you have children, there is the temptation that, holy crap, it was a lot easier when it was just her and I, or him and I.
Yeah.
And so the idea of you looking back is a sure sign that you are actually in the right place, the right season. And if you're overwhelmed in this current season, that's causing you to look back and be like, man, I wish I could go back to that season. That's a sure sign that you're in the right season. You are just in the wrong gear.
And it's go ahead. Sorry.
No, please.
No. I lost it as soon as I said something. I lost it. Just one of those.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
And so what I found in people that I've walked with, and even in myself, is that if you find yourself spending a ton of your time looking back, well, the good old days. But today is so hard. So I am like, it was so much easier when. Yeah, it was easier when, but there's so much more now. It was easier when I lived in a 1,000 square foot house with 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and 1 tiny closet. It was a lot easier then in my life. There's a lot less things going on. So it was easier, but there's so much more I get to walk in now. Back then I only had 2 kids. Now we have 5. And so you could find yourself, because you have so many things going on, that weight, you feel it's an escape to lust after an easier time. But here's the answer. The answer isn't in switching seasons to want to go back. It's to switch gears to match the season you're in. It's to shift. The road is fine, but the gear I'm in doesn't match the road I'm on. If you have 2 children and you're in 1 child gear, you need to not get rid of 1 child. You need to switch gears to match the season you're in. When you are married, you don't wish to get unmarried because you want to go back and live the life that you want. You need to switch gears from single gear to married gear. It is just like when you're picking up momentum on your bicycle, you don't want to go downhill in first gear. You want to go downhill and shift up and up and up to utilize your momentum to pedal you in a gear that's easier to keep you going faster and faster and faster. Go ahead to what you want to say.
I just was, you said the good old days, and it reminded me of a quote. And I haven't watched the full series, but I heard this quote because I saw it on a podcast. But it comes from The Office. Okay. Office season finale. One of the people says this: I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. So part of this shifting gears, yes, you need to shift gears, you need new systems, but also understand that every day is a good old day for the future.
Yeah.
So let's make our mindset be we're going to do the best we can with what we have, and we're also going to do as much as we can to reflect on where we are and not lust over the past.
For sure.
Because then we had to go to a Rafiki. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. So it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I'm a movie quote theme today, I guess.
It might
Anyway,
as well.
but what I'm saying is we got to have that mindset and that mentality. Like, I enjoyed that past.
Yeah.
But let's not look at today as it's worse than that, or it's just harder than. That's what I was going to say earlier. Just because you're in a new season that requires new capacity, new systems, new rhythms, all that.
Yeah.
You have to realize that you have more of the things you wanted in a previous season.
For sure.
If you have a bigger house, yeah, it has all those things. It gets harder, but you wanted more square footage.
For sure.
And you had 1 kid, and you jumped to 4 kids over the span of 5 years.
Yeah.
You can't look back and say, I just wish I had 1. No, you have to enjoy the 4 that you have now, and not necessarily looking back. You can look back and say that was awesome, but look at today as it's also awesome, because every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And so if you find yourself resisting more for the future and like resisting more, but lusting after an easier past, it's a sure sign that you're living in the present day season in yesterday's gear.
Mm-hmm.
You're living in a present day season, but you are operating in a system that does not support today's season. So being overwhelmed, that resistance, that desire for easier is 99.9%. I'm a preacher. I make up stats all the time. So either way, for me, 99.9% of the time, it is not that you need to change your season. It's you need to change your system.
Mm-hmm.
You need to change your system. Your system has to do with everything in your life, your calendar, your thought processes, what you're actually doing, what you need to let go of, what you need to grab a hold on. Maybe it's relationships that need to go that aren't building you up. On and on we can go of season, but it has to be understood for this complication that this dilemma that I'm facing right now, the resistance for the future and a lust over the past. I need to, number one, realize that I'm in yesterday's gear. I'm in yesterday's gear, but I'm in today's season.
Yeah.
And so when you first realize that, then you can comprehend, okay, this isn't a season change, this is a system change. The higher you go, like there was one time where we were in a constant remodeling. It was a phase of 3 years where we remodeled our house. Then we remodeled the Airbnb to become the church's office during COVID time. And then we put in apartments so someone had housing. Then we put in a second apartment. And then after that, we had to remodel the church. And we turned an auction place into a church. And then during that same exact season, we were remodeling what was the church's office space into a Airbnb that my wife and I could rent out. And all of this building phase was done within 3 and 4 year period. And I'm telling you what, I was done. I found myself one night.
You were Law and Order. Dun dun
just done. I found myself having conversations with people, and I couldn't string a sentence together. I was so done, and I was like, "This is not right." And then I finally, one night, I got so done that I just cried out to God because He's a big boy. And I said, God, this is horrible. And do you know what He said? He said, son, this is the weight of what you asked for. This is the weight of what you asked for. You asked for more. You had a desire for more. This is what it tastes like. And at that moment, I realized there is weight to more.
Yeah.
That's why we resist more.
Yeah. And the problem with more is we see somebody with more and we want what they have.
Yeah.
We don't understand the weight that they carry.
For sure.
And this is especially in this day and age where everybody's lives is public. Like there's almost no privacy in the world now. Like you can find out anything about anybody, but you see not even like celebrity, but somebody across the street who has a nicer car, who has a better job that you think you see them outside with their family way more than you're outside with. Like you see all those things, but you don't understand the weight that they carry on the inside. Because a lot of times, to go along with what you're saying, you can see somebody else as having more, but on the inside, they're carrying it worse.
Yeah.
So they may have more on the outside, but they're not carrying it well on the inside. So technically, you in a lesser spot, having less stuff, carrying it well, you're doing better for your family than somebody who looks like they have it all together on the outside.
You could flip that at the same time too. And you can find somebody that does not, in the grand scheme of things, have a lot on their plate. They don't. But because they're handling it improperly,
Yes.
they will constantly say, I'm too busy.
Yes.
I'm too overwhelmed. I'm too this. And you look at their life, and you're like, you really don't have that much. And I'm not saying in a comparison judgmental way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're carrying it incorrectly.
Yeah.
Because they're almost like, and I like to relate it to this, a car. When we get in our cars, it's a little bit differently because 99.9%, I'm going to use that stat a lot, of cars on the road today
That's like
are made.
It gets rid of 99.9%.
I feel like a Lysol commercial.
You are a Lysol.
Yeah, 100%.
You need
is
Lysol.
most, yeah, I know, right? I forgot deodorant today, so if you start smelling
I
anything,
got some in my backpack.
listen,
I'll
if
let
your backpack probably it weighs 400 bricks.
Listen,
so you probably have everything.
I have what I need.
I got what I need.
I have emergency food in
Let
there.
me finish my.
Go ahead, son.
So I like to equate it to 99.9% of cars. Let's go back to that stat. When in doubt, just go back to that and you'll find where the rabbit trail that you're going down. Their transmissions are automatic. Transmissions are automatic. So when you drive, you just have to push a gas pedal.
Yeah.
And you go.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, like if it runs well, you don't even feel the car shift. Newer cars, it just goes.
Especially at 10 speed.
There you go.
It's a
Done. But when my wife and I got married, she had bought a 5-speed Pontiac Vibe.
So much fun.
So much fun. We lived up and down the Ut Pass is what it was called.
Ute.
Ute. I call it Ut.
The Ute Pass.
I had an Ut Pass.
It's UTE. It's Ute.
Ut. It was the Ut Pass, like King Tut without
No,
the T at the
that's
beginning. Ut.
It has an E at the end.
Listen, I was homeschooled. You had more years in the public school than me.
That doesn't. That's
For me, it's the
that's
Ut.
worse. That's okay. That's
Either way, it was a 40-mile-an-hour road that would literally cut through a canyon
every
but
day.
nobody ever went under 60 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah,
So much
it was so much fun.
You drop that sucker into 4th or 3rd gear and you punch. It was great. However, in that car, there were times where my hands were full trying to drive. Maybe I had a kid feeding a bottle. Maybe I had a phone. I don't know. Bad things. But you're driving, and your car is screaming.
Mm-hmm.
You look down and it is passed into the 9,000s, into the red. It is absolutely screaming. Here's the thing. There was nothing wrong with the motor.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah. That's
There was nothing wrong with the road. There was nothing wrong with the surroundings. What was wrong is I didn't change the gear.
Mhm.
I had to dump the clutch. I had to pull it down in the next gear. And then when I hit the gas,
she started chirping.
she started doing what it was meant to be. But here's the thing. The faster you went, you needed to find a different gear, aka system.
Mm-hmm.
The faster you go in life, and this is the problem with so many people, and I think this is going to be a key for so many people out there, is the reason why the older we get, the more aware we become, the more weight that we carry, the more things that we do, the more responsibilities that we have. If we're not careful at being conscious enough to change our gears, there'll be nothing wrong with the path that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing wrong with the car that you're driving.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing wrong with the people around you that are driving with you. It is simply because we are stuck in 3rd gear when we are on the highway and it requires 5th gear to operate.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. Now, that could be so different. Like you can call your car your life. You can call your car your marriage. You can call your car whatever it is. And you might think that I just need to change my car for this thing to fix.
Mm-hmm.
I need to upgrade to a Tesla. I need to upgrade to an F-150. I need to upgrade to something with 4-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
And the simple matter of fact is you don't need to upgrade the car. You just need to change the gear the car is in.
Mm-hmm.
And so you and me are on a path in our life that some are in 1st gear, but it's okay because they're traveling
Mm-hmm.
on the roads that are in the town.
Mhm.
Their speed limits. They're in the lane that they need to be.
Mhm.
But the reason why so many are overwhelmed and burnt out is just like I said before. If I tried to drive on the highway in 1st gear, I will kill the car.
Mm-hmm.
It is not the car's fault. It is my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your path's fault. It is not your calling's fault, guys.
Come on.
Elijah was suicidal. The problem was he got in the wrong gear when he was going real fast. It was not God's fault. It was his gear's fault. He allowed himself to shift into reverse while he was driving down the highway. And that's why he said, God, take me now. Kill me now. It's better. He started making up excuses saying that there's no one left but me serving you. He shifted into the wrong gear, even though he was right where he needed to be. He had just called for 3 years of rain and no rain. He prayed and it rained. He just killed 400 prophets of Baal. He did half of the amount of miracles that he did his entire life in one stinking day. And the next day, he went from 75 and cruising to reverse in the wrong gear, going the right way down the highway. It was just an absolute mess. It was not because he was not called. It was not because he was not anointed. It was not because God abandoned him. It was because he shifted into the wrong gear. And this is where so many people get lost, is because they blame God, they blame their anointing, they blame their calling, they think that they don't have enough, they blame everything else. But the problem is, it's not that you don't have enough, it's that you're in the wrong system for the right season.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's simply it.
I know cliffhangers are extremely difficult, but here, we wanted to make sure you had enough time to digest everything we've talked about in this last episode about not just changing your season, but changing your system. And so I'm going to encourage you, we have another episode of this to air, part number 2 in a couple weeks. Stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, you can go back and rewatch and find 1 or 2 things that you can bring into the next couple weeks that are going to help you change your system to match your season and a system to go beyond into the next season that God has for you. And so with that being said, we love you guys. Thank you so very much for being a part of the Busy Brothers podcast. Please like, comment, share, hit the notification bell so you are notified when part 2 comes out. And if you know somebody or want to be a part of this podcast, please comment, reach out to us, and just let somebody know. Let a friend know. We want to do the best that we can to help you find balance in the busy. Thank you guys so very much. We'll see you next time.